Labor's promising to train an extra 335 doctors every year if it's re-elected.
They'd be split across the medical schools at both Otago and Auckland universities. But as political reporter Lloyd explains, it won't fully come into effect until 2027.
It wasn't the biggest welcoming committee.
Good to see you guys.
While his supporters could do with a boost in numbers, it was a boost in the number of doctors that brought Hipkins to Otago's medical school.
335, which is the largest increase that we've ever made.
It wouldn't happen right away. In fact, it wouldn't be fully implemented until 2 elections' time.
But we believe it's absolutely essential that we do this. We know we're going to need more doctors.
It would start next year with an additional 50 medical school places. Then in 2025, another 95 spots on top of that. The same again in 2026 and in 2027, taking the total annual increase to 335.
335 new overall doctors by 2027.
Yeah,
So you're celebrating something that's 2 elections away.
The reason that we've stepped it out that way is that we're obviously going to need to scale up.
The increase will be split across the medical school here at Otago University and the one in Auckland. And it doesn't come cheap. The cost over 10 years is just shy of $1 billion.
Where funding wasn't an issue, though, could you have done it faster?
Again, that's about scaling the system up.
We are 31 days out from election. They have had 6 years in power and they've only just started to work out we have a health workforce problem here in New Zealand.
National's plan to solve the doctor shortage is to build an entire new medical school in Hamilton.
Isn't their plan better?
No, because we open up 100 extra medical places at Auckland and Otago in 2025 and the medical school opens up in 2027.
They still don't have a plan to fully fund it.
Talking of funding, Pharmac needs an $181 million annual boost just to maintain its current level of funding.
I can absolutely commit that Pharmac will continue to get at least as much funding as they're getting.
More money for Pharmac on the cards then, and more doctors promised today. But there's this election and the one after that before he'd have the chance to cut the ribbon on those 335 new graduates. Lloyd Burr, News Hub.
The former head of Te Whatu Ora says Labor's policy is proof the doctors' strikes are working.
But Rob Campbell says the fact the doctors are still protesting for better pay is a moral failure. Alexa Cook reports.
Among the crowds of protesting doctors are Grim Reapers with a stark message about patients dying.
We're at a dire situation now in New Zealand where we've not got enough doctors to adequately staff our hospitals.
Pay talks with Te Whatu Ora failed last week, so 5,500 of our most senior doctors and dentists are back on the picket line.
People just think it's because, we want to increase our salary, but that's actually not what it's about. This is actually about saving our health system.
They're calling for better pay to stop the hemorrhaging of health workers to higher paying countries like Australia.
Our highest salary level here is the starting salary in Australia.
It's not good enough. We are losing doctors every week to Australia, both senior doctors and RMOs.
There are services which are failing all over the place.
Warning patient safety is suffering because doctors are so burnt out.
They're not going to give you safe care. They'll try their best.
In all my years, I've never been as worried about the state of the health system as I am today.
Labor's proposal to train hundreds more doctors is a policy that former Te Whatu Ora chair Rob Campbell says is the direct result of industrial action.
That's not an accident. It's because people like the nurses and now the senior doctors are taking these actions.
But he's appalled to see doctors with placards rather than patients.
It's a moral failure of our society, to be honest, Alexa. This should not be happening.
The doctors will enter pay talks with Te Whatu Ora on Monday, and if those fail again, then there'll be another strike next Thursday, but this time it'll be for 4 hours. Te Whatu Ora says it's hoping to avoid further protests because it's committed to reaching an agreement next week. Alexa Cook, News Hub.